for this first matchup, and it looks like we are ready right now, so going to jump in and select our first maps for this first match.
Yeah, excited to see who's going to pick what here. I know LCK on their CFWL picks always tried to go for sub-base. It's where they got the majority of their upsets in their league season, so I would be surprised if that's not their target here. All Gamers, I would assume Ankara is a strong pick for them. It's a map they always love to play at events like this, a good momentum boost for them if they can start a series in that location. But for bans, I wouldn't be surprised if Eagle Eye's the ban of All Gamers. It seemed like, especially in Vietnam, that was by far the #1 ban that we saw. Following that, Mexico's a pretty common ban, especially from the Chinese teams as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. Obviously, Eagle Eye, it sort of felt like it was pretty much a perma ban in Vietnam, but then we got into the grand final and we had to play those BO5s, and actually it ended up in the pool and they seemed to handle it quite nicely against Baisha. So like I've said, and I think, you know, if you listen to what I've been saying, essentially anyone that's against the Chinese team is going to struggle. So in my mind, if they can handle Baisha on Eagle Eye, I'm sure that they can handle probably any team on that map personally. And they've actually left it in the pool here. Compound's been taken away by AG. I wouldn't be super surprised to see, yeah, I was going to say sub-base for LCK and then maybe Ankara coming through here for AG. Ankara very much was their go-to back in Vietnam, and unless something's changed, I'd imagine they're going to be feeling pretty comfortable onto that one. It's certainly been a standard sort of map in the pool for CFS for a very long time. And AG is one of those teams that's been around for longer than most.
Yeah, we can see here as well the first side choices coming out. AG going to get the GR side to kick off map #1 of sub-base. That's usually the more favorable side to start off on that map. So I'm assuming because it's their pick, AG going to go ahead and take the easier side for themselves to start off with. I am curious to see, though, as we move forward, it is an Ankara pick coming out of AG, but map #3, I think, in this series is the biggest wild card for me, because I know LCK, they love those close quarters maps, so an Eagle Eye or a Mexico being left on the table for them isn't going to be much of an issue, whereas AG, I feel like it's a toss-up whether they want to remove that Eagle Eye or Mexico, because they haven't looked quite so strong on both of them in recent history, and there is room, I think, for a potential win on either of those maps if LCK can get one of them.
I would say probably Black Widow is where where All Gamers would like to find themselves. I just looked at Ankara on the screen as I said that. I think Black Widow is probably where they'd like to find themselves as a third map if we can get there. So it's interesting to see whether or not LCK are going to decide to get rid of that one. And by the way, if you're wondering, oh, you know, this pick and ban process is taking a while, a little bit longer than usual. Obviously, you can see there on the stage they are actually doing the pick and ban process live as we're speaking, so we're kind of you know, waiting on them to make their decisions, and obviously that means that, you know, they take a little bit of time to have a bit of a think about it, maybe have a conversation between, I don't know, the team captain and the coach, or who knows what, and figure out where they want to be going.
Puts a little bit of a time constraint, you know. You got to think on your feet. You got to be ready to know exactly which map. You don't like have all day and you heard in the morning, oh, they picked on Carl. What are we going to ban now? And have a 4-hour discussion about it. So yeah, they know they are ready, and it will be Mexico that is banned here by LCK. So they do not want to hop onto that map.
I'm a big fan of that ban, to be quite honest with you. I'm really not a huge fan of Mexico as a map. I think it's, for me, probably the worst map in the pool. And I think most teams are not huge fans of Mexico at all. The thing is, though, like, you know, obviously as part of that conversation around the veto process and, you know, being able to predict or pick and ban ahead of time, the way this has actually played out, I don't think is a huge surprise necessarily. Like, we expected LCK to pick sub-base, we expected AG to pick Ankara. If we on the desk can expect that and predict that, you would assume that the players and the teams in particular who have been, in theory, putting in even more work than us would have expected that. And like I said, Black Widow maybe was the one that I would expect AG to go toward. I'm not hugely surprised necessarily to see them go toward Eagle Eye, just again based on what we had sort of spoken about with their results in Vietnam on that map. I don't think it's a bad one for them if they have the choice between Black Widow or Eagle Eye. I feel either one that they go toward, they would actually be pretty happy with. So is it going to need it? In my opinion, no. I think they're okay actually on sub-base as well. So like I said earlier, 2-0, and now having seen the veto as well, I'm going to go 2-0.
Yeah, I feel like with the map picks, they actually got a pretty good pick of it on the side of LCK. I think this is exactly what they were hoping for. Subbase and Eagle Eye are statistically two of their best maps, so I feel like if they could beat AG, this is kind of the dream scenario in terms of maps. I think the Mexico ban was kind of debate out that Black Widow, since AG, they've been a little bit shakier on it, even though a lot of other Chinese teams, it's kind of a staple pick for them. So curious to see how it plays out, but Subbase to kick it off, I think is going to really set the tone for what's to be expected here.
Yeah, I think especially this map pick, it sets them up for the best possible chance to, you know, start off strong and set up an upset. You got to win the first map. If they lose on Subbase, then I'm getting very worried, right? Because as you can see, some of the stats here as well, has been less banned as of late and has been left open a lot more times. Definitely was one of those trickier maps in the past, but as you can see as well, it is kind of evened out over the years. So also a very strong map for LCK. This is the one they got to get started on, and I want to see, you know, this is going to be the first impression of if LCK is going to have a chance in this best of 3.
Yeah, I'm just having a look back at the results from the Summit Invitational in Vietnam, and just having a quick look at how AG did on Subbase. I think they did lose it. They did lose it once to Baisha, but again, you know, when we're talking about that matchup, it is Baisha, and Baisha obviously a pretty good team in their own right. And if you remember rightly as well, Kyle, that game from Baisha where they won on Subbase, Xiao went 24-2. So
yeah.
You know, I guess
that's not fair.
I guess fair enough. You know, if you're gonna lose, on Subbase, yeah, maybe it's because the enemy sniper kind of just absolutely popped off. But aside from that, they did pretty much beat everyone else on it. So there's definitely something to sort of say there. It did feel like Mexico as well was maybe a little bit of a weakness for AG, but end of the day, like I said, I don't have too many reservations about All Gamers coming into today's game. I think they will really want to start off the competition in particular on the right foot. You know, maybe they'll have a little bit of a speed bump during the playoffs somewhere where they'll drop a map to a team somewhere here or there in a best of 5, but generally speaking, I'd be very surprised if they don't top this group, and then if going through the playoffs, they don't also, at the very worst, make it into something like the upper bracket final, the upper bracket semi-final against another Chinese team, and maybe get knocked down there. But yeah, I don't see it happening early in the tournament, personally.
Yeah, I think for LCK here, it's just going to be coming out in this live event with the same confidence they were able to do online to get those upsets. That's where I'm not so sure what to expect from them yet, because for a lot of these players, some of them, it's their first experience at an event like this. For others, like Flex, he hasn't played in a live event since 2017. So I feel like they've got a lot to prove here, but if they can come out with that same confidence they had online, I think this could actually be a pretty close one.
Yeah, definitely different environments coming in here. You're in China, potentially in a new country that some of these people, players have never been in before as well. So just getting accustomed to everything, and they got to play the first match against a really strong team. Definitely a lot of weight on their shoulders, but sometimes some teams just are able to step up to the plate, and LCK has been that team in the past many times. So hopefully they can do it here on LAN as well, as we are nearing the start of the first map here in this best of 3. Excited to see what kind of crossfire we will be seeing this time around here in Chengdu for this tournament.
Yeah, one of the big questions that I actually have around this matchup, and I wonder if you echo my thoughts here as well, Kyle, because I look at this AG roster as a bit of a rifle-heavy core. I felt like obviously he had a reasonable time with the Orm, and he was having impact, and you know, he was contributing, but in comparison to, say, for example, Baisha, which I felt like you really sort of lived and died by Xiao's performance. Are we hoping maybe to see Du kind of step it up here a little bit at the CFS Grand Finals? Because I did feel like it was, yeah, like I said, very much a rifle-centric team.
Yeah, I really hope we see a step up from him. All Gamers, they're going to need it, but this is a great chance to set the tone, and it looks like we're just about ready to go for map 1.
Yeah, it's looking like we're starting it up, so here we go. We got All Gamers from China and from Chengdu All Gamers up against LCK from Turkey. It is the first map, jumping onto Subbase, the choice here for LCK. Let's hop into the match right now.
Yeah, indeed. So All Gamers going to be starting off on the defensive side, which is exactly where they'd want to be. Got the choice of side, obviously, given that LCK picked the map. And a lot of explosion toward the B side of the map initially in the control center, but AG playing a little bit more of a passive setup. ZY will win that first duel, and it's first blood for the Chinese squad.
Yeah, great start there from All Gamers. Flex, he's always really eager in the start of round to find that early pick for his team. He's definitely the aggressor. He even likes to go into the vents sometimes with that shotgun play to get things started, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see that coming in later on. But LCK going in guns blazing onto the A bomb site. Real finds a nice headshot there onto Zhui, and now they've got full control.
Yeah, definitely a very nice entry, especially down a man already. So just getting full control over the A side, it does look like AG are going to look for the retake. Let's see how they do manage to go for this. Some grenades are being sent out early on.
Lots of smokes already set up here, which is kind of keeping AG at bay, but inevitably they're just going to have to send it down the stairs, and they're going to run straight into the crossfire setup of LCK. Doesn't seem to be much of a problem, though, as Do and Even will open the account, and now it's down to ZQ alongside Even, but really it is just going to get sorted in the end, and, well, All Gamers pretty comfortable retake in the end. It comes down to the 2-on-1, and they get it done, and I don't think they can be too disappointed by how that round played out. Exception maybe being Zhui kind of getting caught out with a bit of util in hand as the entry happened, but yeah, solid start for the Chinese squad.
Yeah, not too bad at all. I really liked LCK, though, on the execution. Not really hesitating like a lot of other teams would against All Gamers. They had the right idea up until the post plant, and that's where things kind of fell apart here for them. So I'm hoping if they can get that bomb planted again, they maybe have a bit more thorough of a setup for that post plant strategy to really carry it through, because the execution looked pretty good there.
Yeah, definitely a good start for LCK, I'd say. Zhui now on the site. He is being rushed. This time he is going to stay alive, but immediately just gets his head taken off by Dezane. And so that's going to mean that AG do have to go for this retake once again. But this time, LCK get in there with 5 members alive. So maybe a better chance to take this round this time around.
Yeah, they've also got Vents control, which is going to be a big problem. Unless CY does that. So, well, yeah, this is just one of those situations where All Gamers have the individuals that can really step up. And you'd think a 4-on-5 post plant should be where All Gamers really struggles, but instantly they bring it back to 4-on-4. The flash grenades getting tossed on in. Looked good, but LCK still landing their shots. Dezane and Dane combining this time to hold onto the stairs position, and not a whole lot really that All Gamers is going to be able to do about it. Even and ZQ trying to clutch it out, but man, LCK getting pumped up already. You can tell it means a lot to them.
I mean, of course, that was a really good hold this time around. Definitely giving themselves a better chance at holding on to the site, keeping all 5 members alive, even though some guys got those entry kills on the retake from AG. It was not enough.
Yeah, now going into round number 3, again, LCK kind of going fast into this one onto the B-bomb site. This time, Do is ready in the back corner of sight. Gets a nice double kill, but Dezane still finds the entries to hold on, gets the double before going down. Flex finds the trade, and look at that, the trade's perfect for LCK, and they take a 2-1 lead.
Real is just losing his mind as well. I mean, these guys, they have come into China, and already they have taken the lead against All Gamers, the favorites here, but not looking that way so far. As you mentioned, Kyle, very quick, very ferocious is LCK here to start us off.
I love it. I really like it. I think one of the problems that we sort of saw a little bit in Vietnam for teams playing against the Chinese squads was that they really did take a long time to get anything done in some of the rounds. And there is some value in that, right? Bleeding out util and trying to sort of unsettle your opponent, going back and forth across the map and trying to essentially toy with their rotations a little bit. But sometimes, especially in an environment where you're playing in the first game of the tournament, there is some value in just playing fast, getting in there, getting on top of them, and sort of overwhelming them with pace, which LCK did a really good job of in the last round. I think you see Do pick up a double kill to start the round off. You think, well, that's going to be AG to win the round for sure, but good trades from LCK, great spacing as well. They're looking on point at the moment on this BL side, so we'll see what they're going to be able to bring to the table, but it's pretty impressive so far.
Well, it does look like LCK maybe just wanting to run it back with what has worked so far. Dwayne going to get in this corner, but again, he's just going to be taken out. But this time, ZQ is there, but they're able to root him out as well. But ZY in position to take a lot of the power away from this push. And now it's a 3-on-3, and AG look to retake this in a better stance than the last round.
to be a lot of pressure onto this post-plant hold. They've struggled with it a few times already, but Dane again hits the quickscope on to Do. Make it a double kill. Actually, Flex coming in for the support. Do left alone. It's going to be down to the wire for even here. Can he do it? The clock is ticking. Not going to happen, though. Dezane up to a 9-1 score so far in this one. LCK really coming out of the gate strong here.
Yeah, most definitely. And what I've really been most impressed with has been their spacing and trading. I think on these entries, that's where they've really been able to find their biggest assets, right? They get the opening kill, and then obviously the trade comes through from the defensive side, but instantly there's always another LCK player there to continue to punish and continue the pain train onto All Gamers. And at some point, we're going to have to see All Gamers really step it up, because this is not how the script was supposed to go.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the power of the snipers as well. Dane has been really good about holding down the site after taking it, right? So that's been really good, whereas on the other side, Dude just sitting at 2 and 4, not really able to hold it down for his team in the same manner. Yeah,
well, I was going to say there's a double sniper setup actually for All Gamers, but that's been ripped apart in this round. Shui almost able to line up a couple there. ZY in for a kill or 2 as well, and Shui spotted out Flex. This is starting to shape up a little bit nicer for All Gamers. Bomb has been dropped in an awkward position to retrieve, and even gets around behind 2 and will line them up. So a bit more success for AG, but you can see they're trying to change things up a little bit. They bring the double sniper into that round. Again, granted, it didn't work. Like I said, it's all down to the rifles really when it comes to AG, but they're potentially feeling a bit unsettled, so they're trying to change things up a little.
Yeah, at this point, LCK, it seems like they're doing a really good job of winning the entry game, which against All Gamers, it's not something I would expect here, to be honest, but a lot of it comes down to Dezane and Dane. These guys are really good at opening up these bomb sites earlier on, but this time Do hits a nasty shot onto Flex to kick off the round. Now they've got the 5-on-4 and can play this one a little bit more comfortably.
Yeah, I liked the pressure that LCK was putting on, but the second they slowed it down, immediately now Do, he's getting a couple pickoffs. We saw that Even was able to get the wraparound at the end of the last round. So AG kind of getting some of their footing back and able to, control the tempo. I think LCK getting on sub-base on Blacklist side, just able to get the pushes going in their favor has really helped them a lot in the beginning of this map, but All Gamers now showing up here and looking to tie it up in round 6.
ZY has been dropped by Dane, so we're back to a 4-on-4. And a bit of that util getting tossed out by LCK. They're trying to force Do off of the angle. It's a tough one to challenge him on. Smoke grenade is going to keep LCK safe for the rotation back out to control room.
Yeah, the downside here is they don't really have any presence on the side of LCK towards that A bomb side, so eventually All Gamers is going to catch on and they're able to kind of rotate accordingly. We can see one player starting to fall off there. It looks like Real going to go ahead and rotate back towards the A bomb site, maybe to throw a fake and try and catch them off guard here. I like this play, though, from LCK. Not getting too risky just yet, trying to kind of filter that information across the board and really make a strong decision here. And you can tell, Do wants the challenge, and he's going to take it. Real goes down, but Lion Claw right there to answer back.
All right, well, a couple on the entry actually there for LCK. Puts a spanner in the works for All Gamers. They have already started half rotating their way toward the B bomb site, but a 3-on-2 retake is going to be another test now for Shui and ZQ, who have been doing okay, but haven't really been setting the world on fire just yet. It's been a slow start, to be sure, for All Gamers, and there's another couple that'll go the way of LCK.
Wow. Just really impressive stuff from LCK. I mean, the fact that they were able to, if we take another look here at the replay, just to see how, I believe this is where, yeah, so they get Real, and I think that kind of makes them a little bit confused, right? They're like, okay, It looks like this guy is running into A road with a grenade in his hand. They're probably going A, and then the immediate swoop in from LCK onto the B site just totally caught them with their pants down.
Yeah, now All Gamers have to play a little bit more cautiously, I think. They have a lot of tendency to go for these early picks one at a time, and LCK, a really good team at abusing that, going in aggressive as soon as they know there could be a player alone. They're not afraid to pounce and take that fight, so I feel like moving forward, they have to have a little bit more coordination on these early round trade attempts.
Someone said he wins the race for LCK in this round, it seems. A bit more of a default setup. A couple of players over toward the control room, one watching vent, one watching the A stairs. Waiting to see if there was going to be any aggression from All Gamers, but AG's not really that kind of a team. Certainly going to expect that against Baisha. 9 loves a push, but AG not quite so much. And Do still maintaining his position on the exact same line. This time allows a player across, but information there for Even, so he'll grab one. And even go for a little bit more as well into the locker room. He wants to fight Zane, and that might not have been the right choice. He bit off a little bit more than he could chew, and it ends up being a 2-for-2 trade.
Yeah, I mean, Zane right now, he's 13-2, and they kind of just charged in to get that third member, and they were in a position to do so, but Zane immediately shuts that down and evens it up once again. This guy is kind of putting the team on his back in a certain way. Everybody's playing pretty well, but the 13-2 scoreline, you can't ignore that.
Interested to see what Shuei's going to do here, because he's got a lot of the onus of this round on his shoulders. The problem is he's got to watch the vent, and he's also got to watch the site, though the plan has gone down. But AG seem to be very well aware of the possibility that there is someone hanging around in the vent's position, which significantly hampers their possibilities of a retake. ZY going to challenge it once again, and doesn't quite manage to make it work. So that is really a thorn in the side now for AG, who do actually trade it back with an 8.
It's going to be tough here, though. Dezane still holding on to this bomb site. Finds himself a first. Shui left in a 1v2, but there's just no time to make this happen. Even with the kills, Lion Claw, he stalled the clock perfectly. Gets it done here with Dezane for the round, and it's already 5-2 somehow. This is quickly slipping away from AG.
It's kind of reminding me, actually, of the sub-base that they lost in Vietnam against Baisha, right? Where there was just one individual that was absolutely popping off. Now, the difference there was that it was the sniper and it was on the GR side that Xiao was doing all of that work. But here for LCK, it's the same kind of mentality. 14-3 for Dezane, continuing to cause a ruckus, and AG don't seem to be able to stand up against it, though they're going to try to throw something different in the mix here by taking over the control room. Ends up being a 2-for-3 trade, again, favoring LCK. So AG just cannot get anything going right now.
Yeah, I mean, at least they got Dezane. I'm not sure if that was their goal by trying to rush into the control room, because that is where he has been playing. But, yeah, 2v3, not a great position here for AG, already down quite a bit. But let's see if Zoo and ZQ can put something together here in an outman situation. He's going to miss the shot, but he one-taps him with the pistol, immediately traded back by Lion Claw. As LCK now in a 2v1, this is an easy setup. They have Flex in the control room, or the computers here, just to try to shut down the rotation from ZQ. Let's see if they can hold on to this plant.
Honestly, this is where you need to see that individual star power kind of come online for All Gamers, and I feel like that's sometimes what they lack a little bit in comparison to Baisha. They don't have someone that's just going to pick up a 2v1 at the drop of a hat. It's going to be ZQ's attempt this time around, and Lion Claw was spotted out initially. The nade obviously not going to finish him off. He needs to be aware of the Window's position as well. He's got a little bit of time to work with here, and might be given the 2-on-1, but again, another very well played round by LCK. Goes over the line.
Yeah, honestly, just impressive. You can see it here in these early round trade situations, always having the positioning to make sure they get the advantage here, and that's been the difference. It almost feels like All Gamers is just assuming they're going to win certain fights and then just failing in the process here, whereas LCK, you can tell they're very coordinated in every approach they take, and All Gamers, they can't continue to underestimate these guys, or it could pretty much be a brutal one, but real. What a way to answer back. Gets 2 before going down, but it's still a 1-on-3 for Dane.
Yeah, just shots not connecting for AG that you would normally expect to see them hitting. This round, obviously, playing out a little bit better. Dane in the 1-on-3 are going to give it a crack. And AG, they want to just rush at him, it seems like. They want to try to get this one over the line. A little bit of confidence maybe being shown there by AG, but no real excitement. They know that the lion's share of this job is still ahead of them.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a really good position defensively there as LCK tried to throw a spanner in the works, kind of a trick play, all of them rushing in through the hallway, or most of them, 4 of them, with Ding just going in through the lockers. And, you know, luckily enough for AG, they had a guy there in position to defend it perfectly, and that is what allowed them to get that big lead in that last round. So, finally, AG back on the board. We'll have to wait and see if they can stitch a couple of rounds together, because I don't think they've been able to do that on this map at all.
Yeah, they really need to find a way to get the ball rolling, but now they're on the attacking side here, so maybe that'll play into their hand a little bit more, since it does seem like they want to be pretty aggressive in how they take on LCK so far. Now they've got that chance to do so a little bit more in their favor, but right now it is going to be Dane looking to take that battle on A long. He really wants to keep taking Du out of the picture very early on, and so far he's looked a little bit more consistent in this early fight.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of ties into what I was saying. I feel like Du is not the strongest point of this AG roster. And often we see other snipers having a little bit more impact than him. Then it comes down to the rifling core of the likes of ZQ, ZY, Zhui. But none of them are really having a massive standout performance. Just remember how insane ZQ and ZY were at Vietnam. But yeah, like I said, slow start for All Gamers in today's game. But side swap on the half might bring with it the winds of change.
Yeah. Maybe just a little sleepy, you know, it's the first match. They're still rubbing the sleep out of their eyes and trying to get used to it. I will say that I'm pretty sure they did not expect LCK to come out this strong.
No.
As you were saying before, Kyle, they were probably like, oh, you know, we're just going to win these trades. We're going to take these fights. We don't necessarily have to, but we're better, so we'll do it. And then they kind of got humbled a little bit, I would say, at the beginning of this map. But, you know, let's see if AG can pull something together here after the side swap.
ZQ's been pretty tagged down already, and I think part of the rotation's already come across to LCK for this B bomb site, so they seem very well prepared for this push from All Gamers. They have read that like a book, and there is really nothing to be done for All Gamers. It's just 5 players trying to more or less entry against 4, and when you've got 4 holding onto the site, there's not a whole lot that you can really do about that. It's such a strong crossfire established. So first round of the half is going to go the way of LCK, and proving that they can get it done on both halves is a very positive sign.
Yeah, you can tell in how they're playing as well. A lot of predictive utility coming out and working really well for them, just getting that nice chip damage before the push comes through. And All Gamers looking a little bit slower on their executions as well. I'm surprised to see them hesitate so much on the push.
Yeah, it's definitely been a little bit of a sticking point for them on both sides, but especially seeing the first round on Blacklist. Not the greatest look. LCK just coming in a lot more prepared, and somehow ZZXQ, you knew this was going to happen, and it's looking pretty good for your predictions so far. But let's see if anything does swap around, or if LCK can close this one out on their map pick. So far, AG getting the first kill, taking out Dean. But they have not locked down Zane yet, which I feel like is a little bit of a sticking point. He has been fantastic so far.
Yeah, he really has. Honestly, the one person I'm kind of expecting a little bit more from here is Flex. Online, he's usually one of their strongest players, that really dynamic presence across the map. And if he comes online as well and starts playing very well, this could be a good map for them to close out. But All Gamers, they're not a team that lets one slip too easily. Real goes down. They've got the 5-on-3 now. They can slowly collapse into this B-bomb side. Execute, but Lion Claw and Dezane, they're still holding on here. 1 kill apiece. ZQ and ZY both going down, but the plant still secured here from All Gamers.
Pretty important round, actually, all things considered, for All Gamers. They do need to get momentum going in this second half, and this is the perfect round to do it in, though. Shui's lost his life. Lion Claw almost winning the duel as well against Even. Back to the 2-on-1, but Flex doesn't have the HP to really go for it, and in the end, 4-7, the scoreline. All Gamers, they're keeping themselves in the discussion, but only just.
Yeah, I think for them, especially getting that first kill into a second kill as the follow-up just allows them to be in a much better position. And yes, LCK did fight back very nicely, but AG, a good enough team to, you know, pull it through from there as they were able to hold down the B site. This time around, Dane also going to be taken out first, but Lion Claw quicker to get the return kill.
Yeah, that's been a big asset for LCK. I mean, even in the second half now, you can sort of see that spacing and trading is working very nicely for them. It's almost as if no kill really goes unpunished for AG.
Yeah, that's exactly how you want to play here against these guys, but Flex Gets a little aggressive here, takes the gamble on long, finds himself 1 kill. He wants a little bit too much out of this one, but still gets the shot, somehow picks up the double before going down. Even more pressure as ZQ's left with half HP. Now Dezane can play a little bit more forward on the A staircase, and they're kind of just trapped here. They've got to go in swinging on this A bomb site. Dezane not going to be able to hold on for too long here. Both of these remaining players just have a sliver of health to work with. Real and Lionclaw, this should be theirs, but they can't underestimate here who they're up against.
Lionclaw has an 8. It's not quite going to land. Flash is coming through, and this might be a big clutch for AG. Okay. Is that the start of something? I think if that round goes the way of LCK, we're done. But the individual step up for AG, and you do start to wonder if LCK have left the door a little bit too far open.
Yeah, I think especially, AG were really struggling to take out Flex on a long, and it just took forever, and Flex got so much value. You would expect that LCK could pull it through from there, but AG just very resilient, able to get a couple of kills, and the retake maybe a little bit too quick from the side of LCK, and they rushed down the stairs through the smoke and got picked off 1 by 1. So AG just keeping their cool, keeping their calm, and they're still in this one. I mean, it's 5-7. He had a side change as well. Absolutely, AG could pull this one back.
I believe. I still believe. I'll never not believe. That's the thing. That's the, I suppose, legacy that the Chinese teams have granted themselves by such dominance over the 10 years of the Crossfire Stars history. This being the 10th anniversary. They're never done until they're done. And this might be a perfect example of it on this map.
Yeah, it very well could be. I just think back to even the finals in Vietnam where they were down 2-0 to Baisha, then ran it back for 3 in a row. This is a team that they don't really feel the pressure in the same way another team would here. For them, being down on a few rounds isn't really a scary place to be when they know the firepower they have on their team. So LCK, they can't afford to think the job's done until they've got that 10th round on the board.
Yeah, and that's kind of the resilience that you need to have in this kind of format as well. You're going to be playing a lot of Crossfire. You know that, well, if you can hit shots like that, you're going to be in good hands as they charge down. Flex is able to hold against one. Lionclaw here as well, up in AC. Picks up another, makes this 3-on-3 as the plant's still not down. But 45 seconds left as now they will get this plant.
Smoke's going to keep LCK at bay for now. Going to toss a bit of util down of their own, but Do will pick one and even another before things even get exciting. The round kind of feels over. And, well, I dare say, the deeper we go into this map, the better AG is looking, which is a very scary prospect for LCK, even though they have the lead.
Yeah, it feels like at this point the retakes are going to be brutal. I think they have to be a little bit more aggressive earlier on in the round because All Gamers on these retake setups have looked unbreakable. So I'm hoping we see maybe a little bit of a change of pace here because LCK, they're starting to lose that flair they had in the first half and not being afraid to be so aggressive. And now we do see a change up with this double push on the A bomb site, but Do and ZY already there to meet it head on. It's just a complete slaughter here. Now Lionclaw, he's left alone wondering what went wrong here.
Yeah, that's, you don't even need to go for a retake if you just kill everybody as you're planting the bomb, and that's going to tie it up 7-7. I mean, AG, they have come back in a huge way, and it hasn't even been that close, right? A lot of these retakes have been pretty weak from the side of LCK, and now they're even going to take a timeout just to try to gather themselves. And you were talking about it before, Elfish Guy, that maybe if they had taken that 8th round and they had gotten that lead, maybe then they would have enough confidence to at least push to 9 or 10. But now it's looking all AG is coming up all AG the last 4 rounds.
All GAG, I think is a good way of putting it.
All good AG.
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much quite about AG. Like, I think they're always going to be the team that has the confidence. But getting that extra round for LCK just gives them that little bit of an extra buffer. And it doesn't really quite get the hype train rolling as much for AG if they don't win that round. Obviously, it's a round that they look like they shouldn't win. And those are the ones that, if you're LCK and you're the underdog, you really do need to be converting those rounds because you're kind of giving them an inch and they're taking a mile. And once they realize that they're going to be able to get away with that sort of thing, then they're going to start to do it a little bit more often. The confidence is definitely building up there for AG. You can sort of see how the entries are playing out now in comparison to how they were 3 or 4 rounds ago. That last round was utterly dominant for AG. very nearly a perfect round. They did lose one player on the back end, but it was in the 1v5, and we all know that that was not going to go the way of LCK. So I think now all gamers have awoken, and I suppose if you dance with the bear, then you can't be angry when it tangos, right? And AG are here, and they're tangoing.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, LCK, I hope they've got a lot of value coming out of this pause because they're certainly going to need it. They're starting to lose a lot of that early momentum, and now All Gamers definitely seems like the more favored team in this situation. But Dane, he does get the start they need here after the pause. Du goes down early on. They do some early chip damage as well, but Dezane not going to win that fight with Jue on the top of AC, and now they've got a lot of pressure to deal with in mid.
I see why. Worried about the player behind the forklift, well aware of it. He's going to deal with Lion Claw. And again, the map is just being split in half by All Gamers. Look at the battle line that's been drawn. Flex was not expecting Jue to be this progressed underneath the vent. And I don't want to say it's over, because it's not over, but it's kind of feeling a bit like it.
Yeah, I like the idea from LCK. They got aggressive from the GR side, but other than that, it has been all Gamers. And now, here comes LCK trying to go for the retake 2v3 as immediately ZQ going to take down both of them. And that will be the end of that round real quick. So 8-7, LCK came out aggressive and All Gamers responded perfectly.
Yep. What do you even say at this point? How many rounds in a row has that been for All Gamers? And how dominant has it started to look?
5.
Yeah, so we might end ourselves with a 10-7 scoreline here for AG. And I do feel for LCK, you could see what it meant to them getting those early rounds on the board. They really had that self-belief, but I do believe that that is starting to escape them.
Okay, nice start for Dane. He's going to get the one as Real is here as well to support. That gives the advantage over to LCK here, 3-2. We do have the push coming into B, but the bomb is down on the ground as ZQ is trying to move in, pick it up. He will get it. And with two guys kind of zoned away by smoke, they might even be able to get this plant down, giving them a chance at the 2v3.
I think they're going to be given the plan, actually, by LCK, who are more than happy to play that retake. But Lion Claw was not expecting the push from Even. And in these odd number situations, when you're down 2-on-3, that's exactly what you need to do. AG secure themselves at least a 2-on-2, and it's going to go one better than that. Dezane, he clutches it out for LCK. He is not done just yet.
What a way to bring it back to a tie. I think that's the momentum they needed to try and swing this one back in their favor. If they went down there, I would have said it's certainly over at that point, and AG would have got that final round. But now they've got things tied up. They can try and pick it up and get something going for themselves because the second half still hasn't looked the best for them overall. This is only their second round in the second half so far, so All Gamers, I think they're still in a comfortable position here, but LCK, you can see they want to contest here, going for that full push into the B control room with that early pressure play from Lion Claw. Doesn't net any kill, but now they've got a lot of forward map control.
Indeed, a lot of map control. It's valuable. It's going to take AG a lot of time to take that part of the map back. And potentially it'll cost them some bodies as well, because Lion Claw is still jiggling the angle.
Yeah, definitely. I do like this pacing a lot better from the side of LCK. And this time they back away. They get the map control, and then they do concede it for now. But it is going to give them some time. You know, AG, they have to clear out all these corners. They're not 100% sure if anyone was left over. So now they will take control back on the side of AG, that is. But, yeah, definitely buying some time for LCK to kind of push them to one side of the map and control the area. Now they have just gone back into kind of a default defensive setup, just waiting for AG to make the push.
One good thing for AG there is that they did that dry. They didn't use any util, so they've still got enough available to make it into the site, though starting to lose members here is not exactly a good sign for the round.
Yeah, now All Gamers are hesitating quite a bit here. They actually back off completely towards this B-bomb site push, which initially only had Lion Claw defending. Now there's 3 players towards the B-bomb site. They sense there could be an opportunity here. Dezane playing with fire, wants to take this fight, but he's ready to fire right back, takes him down, and now he wants the double. He gets it. Control of the A-bomb site now sits in the hands of All Gamers, and things not looking so good for LCK.
Yeah, that's really painful for LCK, isn't it? They look good in this round, and then Du just walks into the site and does that. You got Even around the back to spot out Lion Claw. Yes, he doesn't get the kill, but it's such a thorn in the side of LCK that they're not going to be able to deal with. I think this round is done. 2-on-4. Dane and Real would have to go absolutely superhuman to win this one. And it's just not going to happen.
Dane, I mean, 1v3, he doesn't have a lot of time, though, and he's going to have to run in. And down he does go, as the round MVP very obviously was due. It's very nice when you've got a default setup and you at least trade, you know, a couple of members, even if they do get the plant down. But if you have default setup and one guy just immediately clears out everybody on one site,
Yep.
It's just not fair. Like, you're just not going to have the coverage. Everybody has to rotate. You don't know where they're covering. Even's on a weird angle. You have to clear out everything, and that just makes it so easy for AG. So now we move on to the final round of regular round play. Let's see if AG can close it out here.
Yeah, this is where LCK have to pull out all of the stops, because when you look at the overall map pool, this is kind of a must-win for the side of LCK. This was their pick, and losing on your own pick, not a great way to start this one off, knowing you're going next into Ankara, one of AG's strongest maps for map number 2. So if they could somehow take this one into overtime, pull it off, they have a chance still to win this back after all, but it's a good test for them in their first match here at CFS to show us if they have that resilience to push this all the way into overtime.
Much slower round out from AG here as well, isn't it? You can sort of feel the tension in the air building up as this round starts to tick away. A minute and a half left. They haven't explored lockers yet. They haven't really gotten into mid. They haven't had a look down the stairs. So AG taking their time about this round. I wonder if that's got LCK thinking as well. This just feels like it's going to be a sub 30 seconds explode onto one of the sites and an absolute brawl to see who ends up taking it and potentially whether or not AG can take the map.
Yeah, it looks like they do want to push in through lockers at this point. I mean, there's only a minute left. They still could rotate over to A, especially with the C4 over on that side, but 3 members for now are going to push into lockers and at least try to drag them over, and they will pull the C4. Well, they're considering it, but not going to go for it. Dane gets the first kill over here, but the push is coming in, and Dezane is going to hold down the A site, and that's going to give them such a good chance to tie this one up. There's just really not that much time, and LCK, it's coming up all LCK. It's only going to be even, and he doesn't have time to take out 4 members and plant this bomb.
Yeah, he's going to have to get a wriggle on, isn't he? C4's dropped in a very awkward spot at the top of the stairs, and he's making his way in through the vent toward the site, but will drop down into mid instead. I mean, where do you go from here with 15 seconds? I just don't think it's possible for him. And now he's been spotted out by Dane as well. So it is the overtime confirmed, at least for LCK. And I'm really not sure what that round ended up actually being for All Gamers. I think they tried to get a little bit too tricky for their own good. They split between the B and the A side. The bomb was trying to go down to A, and there was, you know, the fight happening over the locker room. And Dezane's obviously massive impact picking up those 2 kills. But you almost just wonder why change it up when what was working was just grouping as a core unit and trading your way into the sites.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just comes down to the same problem they've had throughout this map, is they get a little bit too overconfident against LCK at times, and then they make the wrong decision, and it comes back to bite them. So now we're going to see what they can do in overtime to maybe push this one forward, but LCK, I'm curious to see what they'll do under this kind of pressure. It's their first match of CFS. Now you're in overtime against All Gamers. That is a tough opponent to take down in this type of scenario.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting bunch of rounds because LCK, you know, they started off so strong. They get to go back to the Blacklist side, which has been the stronger side for both of the teams so far. Both of them going 6-3 on the Blacklist side. So maybe this gives them a little bit of that extra power to push them over the edge and potentially pick up the first map of their map choice. As Flex, he's on the move again, but this time ZQ is going to read it, and he's in position to shut down any kind of vent push.
Once again, it's the double sniper setup for AG on this defense. Didn't really work out for them in the previous round, but LCK taking it a little bit slower this time around. Shui just getting balked out of the server by Real. Still not sure that's going to be enough to make LCK feel comfortable about this, given it is a 4-on-3 post plant. But at least they have that plant down.
Yeah, they've got a lot of space to work with here. Dane has to hit these shots, though. Finds the first spots even. That's a lot of information now to pass back to his teammates. He's going to force the rotation as well from All Gamers, and now Dezane, that's going to be all of the weight of the round on his shoulders here. He's got to hold the line, but he's not going to be able to do so. Now Dane has to go for the cross picks here. He's all alone, 1 versus 3. There's just no way out of this one. All Gamers, they take the first round in overtime.
Yeah, Dezane, I mean, he popped out, even it looks like he can hardly believe it. He popped out there to try to challenge them as they run through the smoke down the stairs, and generally, I think that's a good idea, but he just got his head taken off way too quickly, was not able to trade anything back, so pretty rough for them. I mean, at 3v3, they have the plant down, LCK in a really good spot, but not able to get it. But now, they are going to show up big here at the start of the next round, picking up 2 kills.
Yeah, that's not ideal for All Gamers, is it? They try to get a bit aggressive into the control room and kind of get wrecked. So, perfect opportunity for LCK to pick something up. And, you know, again, I'll reiterate, these are the kinds of rounds that you absolutely have to ensure do get converted. And you don't allow someone from All Gamers to step up and have a big round. It could be Shui's turn right here, but under a bit too much pressure and will get traded down again. It is that quintessential spacing and trading from LCK that is pushing them through this round as well. CY for the retake attempt, 1 on 3. Tough ask. Impossible ask in the end as well. 10 apiece.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to this final round here. I feel like LCK really needs this one a lot more, considering they had to have that 6-3 start in regulation to feel that confidence going into the second half, and I feel like they need the same here with that 2-1 to close out the first half in overtime. And this is where we're going to have to see LCK continue to address these early pressure plays from All Gamers like they did in the previous round so well. But now, as you can see, All Gamers, they're going to play a lot more reserved in this final round on the GR side to really put that extra pressure onto LCK.
Well, they're going to take it slow to start us off. Same could be said on the side of AG, not really trying to poke out, no rush into the control room this time around. They've just got even holding this angle. And a couple of guys over by the stairs, maybe expecting some pushes over there. Some utility used already. Just try to push it back, but LCK just waiting, you know, seeing how much utility they could bait out before they actually do go for the push. As, you know, it is a big match and a big round for them in this situation. Let's just see where they decide to go for at the end of it.
Yeah, we are going to see LCK slowly rotating towards this A bomb site push, but there's a lot of forward presence here from All Gamers. They've snuck up ZQ into this nice little corner pocket position on the staircase. Now, the rest of All Gamers is slowly going to capitalize here, but Real pushes through the smoke, catches Do off guard. ZY tries to fire back. He's able to find one, but Lion Claw, he's already on the B bomb site. They've got control of it now, and they can set up for the post plant.
3 players from All Gamers retaking from one angle is not going to be the way to go, so ZY is going to start to make his rotate all the way back toward the control room just to be a point of difference. For All Gamers, though, this is a really tough one, and time is ticking away. Lion Claw at about half HP, everyone else full. AG have got to go, and ZY loses his life initially. Shui spotting one around the corner, but he's still got so much more to do. A sharp headshot, it's not going to be enough, and LCK now in the lead heading into the second half of overtime.
What a game so far. I mean, very neck and neck. It's really going to come down to what adjustments has LCK made here in overtime to this side of the map. They suffered so much trying to defend in that regulation where it almost seemed like AG was going to steamroll their way to a regulation victory at times. But now, this is their chance to show us they can adapt, and there's already a big change coming out in the second half of overtime. Flex and Dane both sniping to start off the round.
Yeah, it's one of those rounds where you really wouldn't want to see AG playing slow. Playing slow into a double sniper tends to not go very well.
Yeah, and LCK were able to get a lot of value by just pushing through smoke into one of the snipers in just the last round. Even though AG knew exactly where they were coming from, right? Like, there were 2-3 guys that showed on A stairs. They had a really good idea. They were just going to rotate quickly out. And still, AG were not able to handle that pressure. So curious to see if AG can kind of mimic that and put some pressure onto the double sniper, or are they going to kind of get into their heads once again and say, okay, we're just better, we're just going to push in our way and make it work, because that has not worked for the entirety of this match.
Yeah, All Gamers really running down that clock here. Only a minute 20 to make their move. They still don't really have any map control yet either. You can see LCK just using that utility to play the clock as long as they can, keeping that smoke screen up on the A double doors. Dane not really going to get any value from this position, but he has to be ready if someone decides to sneak through here. You can see the forward smokes coming out from All Gamers. Here comes the peak Shui right into the scope. Takes down not one but two players on the bomb site. ZY finds Lion Claw as well, and now they've got everything they need to put up around themselves.
I think you made a really good point toward the end of the last half there, Kyle, where you said LCK really needed that last round to make it 2-1. It does feel like both teams have felt a little bit more comfortable attacking the bomb sites rather than defending them. And already the equalizing point comes out from All Gamers. Now, essentially what they need, obviously, is 3 on this attacking side. It's a tough ask to achieve that, but 1 more will at least secure golden point.
Yeah, and they were able to do it before with 5 rounds in a row in regulation from the Blacklist side. But can they do it again? That's a nice first kill coming out here from Dway. Going to just, well, Lion Claw immediately trades that one back. So now 4-on-4, but this push is coming in quickly from EG down the stairs to Zane again. He's going to hold down this position as Do will trade one back, and this is getting pretty close. It's going to be all up to Do, as unfortunately that grenade not the best. And Do is going to have to somehow pull this one off.
I've seen do some pretty nutty stuff in his time actually in the clutches. I feel like that's almost where he's done his best work. So let's just hold off and maybe forget about that, because he didn't even get the chance.
Never mind.
Again, and the big benefit, of course, for LCK is that they go so quickly in a lot of these cases that they catch the AG players off. And that's, again, what happened there. Do felt like he had a lot more time than he did. And, well, 1 round is all it'll take now for LCK to, I would say, take the upset in this first map.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good for them. The only downside, though, is if this does go to a golden round situation, they still have to play that on the GR side, which has been a little bit weaker for them. So All Gamers, they have the luxury of every remaining round they're playing being on this Blacklist side, where they have looked a little bit more comfortable in how they approach things. But I do like the changes we're seeing from LCK in this overtime situation, because in those last few rounds of regulation, it didn't feel like they were hitting that peak trade potential that we saw out of them in the first half. But now they've really gotten things together, and they're playing very tight and making sure they make those trades happen.
Not such a fan of the fact that AG have defaulted back to this very slow pace. They don't take a lot of map control this way. And it's almost as if they're waiting for something from LCK. But have we really seen the tendency from LCK to push too much on the GR side? I don't think so. There was that 1 round where they pushed out into mid and sort of took a bit of a fight behind the forklift, but beyond that, not really. Thing is, though, this call is actually very good. They are going to walk into a completely uncontested A site, and I don't know why LCK have made that choice.
They're just not here. They're just going to give the site to AG. It will be theirs, and they will attempt a 5-man retake at this point. Not sure if that was the intention from the beginning of the round, but either way, that's the position they find themselves in now, with the bomb planted on A. Some grenades coming out, but EG with 5 members of their own, and they just spray through the doorway with some grenades as well. Zane now trying to open it up. It's not going to happen. They just get mowed down in the same spot, all 5 members, and we will have a golden round in the first match of the tournament.
Yeah, you really have to question that rotation from LCK to not even at least keep 1 player on the site.
Yeah, it's a really tough call there. I thought they were making the right idea at the beginning, because it looked like AG, the whole entire first half they played on that side of the map, was slowly leaning in towards doing a B hit at some point, but they never do it. They always, at the last minute, end up going towards that A bomb side, and now it's going to come down to a golden round where, again, LCK does have to play this on the GR side, which is going to make it that much harder, because All Gamers, they've looked significantly better on this side of the map.
Yep. But end of the day, it is just 1 round, and we've seen LCK can win 1 round on the GR side. It's not impossible. Similar approach from All Gamers. They start a little slow, though they are taking a little more control toward the locker rooms than they have in previous rounds. So I wonder if they want to end on B.
Yeah, definitely a big question you know, for both teams, what is the strategy on the last round? We saw that LCK, whatever they did in the last one, did not work out. And so they are at least covering their bases with Dezane sitting on A. He has been so clutch in that position, and I think giving a bit of pause to AG as to whether or not they do actually want to rush into him, because, yeah, you can take the A site, but it might cost you 2, 3, or more of your members to get there.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason LCK is sort of stacking the B bomb side, is that they can really rely on Dezane to do a lot of the work on A anyway, and, you know, maybe trend 4 players back over to B and have equally strong holds. It looks like AEG want to go back toward A again, though. I'm a little bit concerned this is one of those little too tricky rounds where they have got at least one member having a look in the locker rooms, but so far so good. No one getting picked on either side. 1 minute left on the clock. AEG are going to have to pull the trigger soon. Ooh.
It's going to be a change of pace, though. They're going to go ahead and challenge Dane up in the lobby doors position. Dane is going to have to pop off here, gets the first. Dane going to go down quickly, traded by Jouet. Now it's a 4v4, but look at the HP All Gamers. They are completely lit up in this situation. Dane going to find one, even though sneaks in for the flank. Jouet now playing on the back of site, and these players are all isolated in separate 1v1s. Dezane and Flex take it down to the 2v2. Do here, he is stuck in a really tough position because the bomb is down, and this could be everything for LCK, but Do, he gets the shot on to Flex. Dezane, he's been the hero for his team throughout this matchup so far. Can he do it again? The 1v1, he gets it done! What a way to pull it off! Dezane gets it done, and LCK take map number 1 in the golden round.